Golden State Take. It's Golden State Take.
What's going on, guys? Welcome to Golden State Take. My name is Yanni.
I'm Danny, and we're brought to you by Super Grill in Pleasanton, California, the best teriyaki chicken in the Bay Area.
Be there
Uh,
tomorrow.
yeah,
Be
yeah,
there
we're going
tomorrow.
tomorrow. Come see Yanni at Super Grill tomorrow afternoon. I think start with the A's, start with
Yeah,
baseball.
we got to start with baseball.
Sounds good. So the A's are looking at 17 and 16, first in the AL West, and I mean it's a jam-packed division right now, but it's been a great start for the A's.
Yeah, no, they've dropped the last two to the Guardians, and last night's game was pretty ugly as far as pitching goes. But
Yeah,
I mean, let's start with the offense. I feel like the offense is starting to come around. With the top, really the entire lineup, I've been really impressed with throughout the year. I mean, Jacob Wilson is playing really well right now, seeing the ball. Nick Kurtz, obviously, his walk streak just ended at 20 games, which is
yeah.
insane. But he's finding his way on base, and so they have a lot of power and depth through that lineup, but their pitching has been up and down from my assessment of things.
Yeah. I think team ERA, they're near the back of the American League. They're
Yeah,
second to last in team ERA. But you're right that the offense has really come along nicely. And Kurtz, as you mentioned, he's has 34 walks. He leads the league in walks, and it's been super encouraging because even if the power hasn't been there like you might expect, the fact that he still just has such consistently competitive at bats and finds a way to get on base really gives him a good platform. But then when he does get that power going, hopefully at some point this season, it could be a really good year for him, and he could start kind of being the powerhouse in that lineup that you expect him to be.
yeah. And with Nick Kurtz, one thing I really liked about watching him hit is he falls behind in the counts quite a bit. Like a lot of times you see him in 0-2, 1-2 counts,
Yeah,
but he will just keep battling and find himself in a 3-2 count, and he'll really work the picture. Very rarely is he an easy strikeout, even with two strikes on him. So um, I feel really confident with him and his production this year. Again, I think the power will come, but I mean, I guess that's really the only reason why they keep having him bat lead off. Because again, with a guy that has his kind of power, I would like to see him more in that third, fourth spot. But I mean, just like you said, he's leading the league in walks, so his on base percentage is really good right now. So,
yeah.
um, do you like how Kotze's handled the rotation, or not the rotation, but the batting lineup? Because I feel like there's some guys who are a little bit lower in the lineup that I would like to see higher up. It looks like he's kind of played with around with it a little bit
Yeah,
recently.
yeah, I think he's managed it well. They've gotten some surprise contributions from Carlos Cortez.
He's been
He's been
insane.
great, and I mean, we talked about Jeff McNeil last time, but he's continued to be a really good veteran presence, and somebody who can turn the lineup over into the back of the lineup. So I've liked what Conte's done with the lineup so far.
Well, because like you have from last night's game with the Guardians, you have Nick Kurtz leading off. You have Langoliers batting second, who's been great all year.
Yeah,
You have Soderstrom batting third, Rooker fourth, and then you have Wilson five, Cortez six, McNeil seven, Butler eight, and then nine was forgot who was batting ninth. He's playing in right field right now, or not right field, or third base.
mm,
I
I
forgot
can't
his name.
remember off the top
Yeah,
of my
but
head.
he's. I mean, he hasn't been great, but they have some dude batting ninth, whoever his name is. But 1 through 8 has been really solid this year.
Yeah,
But I would like to see Wilson up in that lineup. They put him in leadoff for a little bit, and I thought he played well. I'm not sure why they brought him back down, but I would like to see him higher up in the lineup because I think he's producing
yeah.
really well for him.
I definitely see him more as like a two hitter than a five hitter. He could be a
Yeah,
nice guy to after Kurtz to put the ball in play and try to move the runner over. He's more of a traditional two hitter. So yeah, I think I would like to see that change.
because like I mean, Cortez is batting 380 right now, which is
It's not going to
insane.
sustain,
Yeah, it's
but
not going to sustain, but he's having a really good season. But I think he's shown enough you can, I think, rely on him to be in the middle of the order and produce at a decent rate. Obviously, yeah, not 380, but
yeah,
I don't see a problem him being a long term 5-6 in the 5-6 spot for them. But I like Langoliers. I, I guess I like him second. I don't have a problem with him batting second, but with his power right now and the way he's hitting, I would have maybe liked to see like Wilson, Kurtz, Langoliers batting three because Rooker and Soderstrom have been a little off and on this year.
yeah,
Um, but I feel like that would be a nice 1, 2, 3 punch to start the order. But do you
yeah.
have any
I like
like what
that
would you
idea.
do?
I think that works. You have Wilson to set the table, and Kurtz with the way he's been getting on base also to kind of keep that going, and then you get to your power guys in the middle of the lineup. I think I like that arrangement probably better than what they've been using, but I'm more of a traditionalist when it comes to a baseball lineup. So
Yeah, and I mean, I guess like Soderstrom and Rooker again. I know Rooker and Soderstrom both were out of the lineup for a little period of time, but they haven't had great seasons so far. But
yeah,
maybe even I would even consider dropping them down a little bit until they get because again the way Cortez is hitting the ball right now and playing,
yeah.
I don't know why they keep having those guys in the 3-4 spot. I
Hmm.
mean, I would bring them down maybe a little bit until they get things rolling.
Yeah, I agree. So looking at the pitching side, what have you seen? What have you seen from the rotation that you like, and maybe some areas that need to improve for this team to be taken more seriously as a contending team?
Yeah, I mean, I'll try not to take the last couple of games, especially last night's game, as like a panic, but their pitching staff has been very up and down, and like really up and down. Like
Yeah,
they'll have games where they pitch a shutout or give up 1 or 2 runs and they look great, and then they'll have a game like last night where they give up 14 runs. And I actually thought Lopez last night pitched relatively well to start the game. His first 3-4 innings were fine,
hmm,
but the back half of the game, I mean, it unraveled for them, and the bullpen didn't do anything. And
yeah,
uh, they started getting on Lopez in the middle of the game, that fifth inning, I believe. And then once they went to the bullpen, there was no answer from them, and the game just got out of hand because they hit the ball well yesterday. I
yeah.
think
They
they had
did.
like 10 hits or 12 hits or something. Like
Hmm.
they were producing just fine offensively. But when you give up 14 runs, you're not gonna win.
Yeah, yeah, and I think Jeffrey Springs has kind of come back down to earth a little bit his last few starts after that really great start to the season. But one thing that I've been encouraged by is Severina's last two starts. He's
Yeah,
been
he's
really
been
good.
pitching well.
And his last start was 7 innings, one earned with 8 strikeouts, and his fastball's up like 97, 98 with command, and he's commanding his off speed stuff as well. So if he could kind of be more of what they gave him that contract to be, like last year was a really bad year for him. He was complaining about the playing environment in Sacramento, and he was pitching really poorly, but seems to be maybe settling into a top of the rotation role for the A's. So if he could help stabilize that rotation going forward, that could be a huge development.
Yeah, well, and I
Yeah,
think I think we can agree that this team offensively has enough to do some damage
yeah,
even in the playoffs. Like they have, I think, a playoff ready offensive offensive production.
yeah,
It's really going to be again coming down to pitching and bullpen, and so hopefully, I hope at the deadline they do make some moves and they are buyers at the deadline because I do think they are in a good spot where if things continue to they keep hovering around first place and they stay where they're at right now. I
yeah.
do think they really could just be 1 or 2 trades away from making that jump and I'm maybe not series contending this year, but again, do some damage because if they just have a slightly above average pitching staff, they're going to be in a much better spot than they are right now.
Yeah, for sure. I think so. Yeah, I mean that's essentially what we talked about at the beginning of the season too. It's like this
Yeah.
lineup is going to score runs, and then the first week or two of the season it looked a little bit different. They were pitching the ball well and they weren't hitting, but now it's starting to look more like what we were expecting. A team that is going to lose a game 14-6 or whatever last night's was, but on days where the pitching staff can keep them in it, they're going to have the offensive ability to really put a lot of runs on the board.
Well, and I'm waiting for them to put this together, and you tell me if you think this is a bad scenario or a good scenario because I feel like with the A's, they've struggled to for most this year, they've struggled to put it all together completely. Like they have games or even a series where their hitting has been lacking and they'll only have 2 or 3 runs, but then
Yeah,
their pitching comes through in those games and they pitch a shutout or they'll win the game 2-1 or three
yeah,
one.
yeah,
And then a game like yesterday where offensively they did enough to win most of those games and they were hitting the ball well. Langoliers hit 2 bombs and
yeah,
then but their pitching, there's a huge leak in the pitching. So it's like they haven't really been able to put both on the same page together. And so I guess if you're a half glass half full guy, you could say, well, they're winning in different ways, which
yeah,
a good
yeah.
team does. But if you look at a glass half empty, it's like if they could just put it together, they would be a much better team than they
Yeah.
are.
Well, it does make it more fun to watch because like you really don't know what you're going to get every night so
Well,
far this year.
yeah.
Really, anything could happen. So it's been inconsistent, but it's been fun to follow.
Well, and I guess I mean they are a young team, so you do have to have that little patience with them because I think they're at that stage now where they're a young, very talented team, and they have all the potential in the world
Yeah,
for in the next 3 to 5 years to do something really well and be one of those top teams in the league.
yeah,
But they have to go through those growing pains and go through those um, get those battle scars essentially.
Oh,
Like
for
they have
sure.
to go through that first in order to get to that point. So I think that's just the stage we're in. So again, I know we said coming into the year that maybe they're not a playoff team, but I think if they make the playoffs, similar to how I thought with the Sharks, even if they don't do anything, just them getting there and going through that,
Yeah,
I think will serve them super well for next year.
I think so. And even if it's just they're in the thick of the wild card race late into the season, and they get that experience kind of in a late season playoff push, even if they don't end up getting that wild card spot, this could still be a very valuable season for them.
Do you still like them though in the AL West as
I
far
think
as like
so. Yeah.
winning the division
I don't
or
know about winning the division. I know last time I said the Astros,
yeah, yeah.
but I think I was a little off on that take. But I feel like the Mariners probably get it going at some point and take the division. That's a really talented team that hasn't really put it all together either yet. But I mean, it's wide open in the AL in general, and I think they could at least make it a competitive divisional race. And I think they have a good chance to snag one of those wild card spots.
At least be if they don't win the division, at least be
In the
behind
thick of it.
Seattle and
I think
yeah.
so. But speaking of the future, I did want to spotlight their top prospect,
Yeah, go for it.
Leo DeVries. He's a shortstop. They got him in the Mason Miller trade a few years ago, or was that just last season? Well, regardless,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah,
Somewhat
they,
recently.
yeah, they got so Leo DeVries. He's the number 4 overall prospect in MLB. He's a 19-year-old shortstop from the Dominican Republic, and he at 19 is already playing in Double A, and so far in Double A, he's hitting 281, 369 on base with a 448 slug. So while it's not incredibly impressive for a 19-year-old already to be in that upper level of the minor leagues and producing, not seeming overwhelmed by the pitching at that level, I think it's pretty
Yeah.
impressive. And so maybe they can see him sooner rather than later. He's got a super high ceiling.
How would you assess their? Do they have any pitching prospects? Because I know you're the prospect guru on this
you know,
podcast. Do you know of any pitchers that they have that maybe aren't ready yet, but they have some potential to be something in the
I don't I
MLB?
don't want to BS too much. None really come to mind that I know.
Yeah,
So maybe for the next episode, I'll
yeah,
come ready.
absolutely. And
Yeah.
it's funny because like I know I always go back to like hockey, but I always try to find some similarities between the teams we talk about, and like I really feel like the A's and the Sharks have a very similar roster buildup right now where like offensively, like just how we talk about the offense, like their lineup from top to bottom is really strong for the
Yeah.
A's. And the Sharks have a multitude of offensive young talented guys who are going to be really good in the league. But the pitching staff for the A's is subpar and does not meet that level. And the Sharks defense is very subpar and doesn't meet the level. And so it's like both teams have one part of their one half of the game that they really need to improve on. And once they do that, I think they're gonna have a juggernaut at the end of the day.
Yeah.
So I
Yeah.
feel like there are some similarities between the two. Obviously, there's no Celebrini on the A's, but like
No, but
you get
Nick
my point.
Nick Kurtz is a pretty damn good
Nick Kurtz
player.
and yeah, Langoliers. I mean, what he's got, he's second in the league in hits right now.
I think
Or
so. Well, he's got 8 homers, and yeah, I
he's
looked at
got
his.
10 now because he had two last night.
Right.
Yeah,
Yeah, what a stud. No,
yeah,
he's been key to their lineup so far.
yeah.
Uh,
You got anything else on the A's that you wanted to
I
talk
don't think
about?
so. We got any more A
Well,
segments?
I
Or?
do have a little blind ranking for you
Okay.
for the A's. So we've been doing the keep three cut fives. We have one of those coming later, but for this one, we're gonna do a blind rank 1 through 5 of all time A's players. So I'm gonna give you a name. You're gonna list them 1 through 5 for me in blindly. One is obviously the best. 5 is the worst of the five. So
Okay.
I'm gonna throw out the names and you gotta tell me where you want them. All right.
Sounds good.
All right. So first name up, Raleigh Fingers.
I think I'll put him. I feel good putting him at 3.
3. All right.
Yeah.
So you're gonna set the bar in the middle.
Yeah.
Okay. Ricky Henderson.
Number 1. I think probably the greatest A of all time. Total stud.
Figure that there's not really a whole lot you want to
Yeah.
chime in on after that. I feel like it's pretty that's pretty guaranteed. Okay, so we have 1, 3, Jose Canseco.
I'll put him at 4.
Okay.
And it's not only just because of the steroids. I mean, like we talked about last time with Bonds, we try to evaluate them, independent of that. But I'll put him at 4.
Okay.
I can't put him ahead of Raleigh Fingers, I don't think.
By the way, thank you for the Bonds the interaction with you guys. We love that.
Yeah.
So keep it coming. We love it. Okay, so you Jose Canseco at 4. Dennis Eckersley.
That's tough. I can't put him at 5, so I
Yeah,
think I'm
2
going to
and
put him
5.
at 2. I'm going to put him at 2, but I don't know who you got here on the 5th. That might have been a mistake.
Okay, so just wanted to go over everything real quick. We
Yeah.
have we have Rawlings at 3, Ricky Henderson at 1, Canseco at 4,
Yes.
Eckersley at 2, and then 5th spot is Barry Zito.
I feel good about it. Yeah, I mean, he obviously he won the Cy Young. His peak was
Yeah.
great, but he didn't have that sustained success with the A's. So
And
yeah,
this is all time. So like they're all gonna have good season, like good careers with the A's. But I feel like I wouldn't change anything with I mean, would you change anything with this
no,
team?
I think I like that. I mean, I'd have to look at like Eckersley versus Raleigh Fingers because that's a little bit before my
For
era.
sure,
But
yeah.
based on my perception of those guys' careers, I feel pretty good about that five actually.
Sounds good. And shout
Yeah.
out to Connor because I had some other names on here, and Connor's like, no, 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 no. We need the elite of the elite. So shout out Connor, our MLB insider.
Nice.
Okay, so that's it for the A's. Let's shift over to the worst team in baseball,
Yeah, it's been tough.
the Giants.
You start with the Giants, and I'll wait my turn.
I mean, I feel like they're just unraveling at this. And again, it's a long year, so I really do not try to overreact.
Yeah,
But it's just like it's just gotten so ugly. So we'll start with the Dodger series because I want to start there because I feel like that kind of started this offensive skid, and I think it goes. I don't think people. I think people don't talk about it because they did win the series,
yeah,
and obviously, if you're winning a series against the Dodgers, no matter how you do it, you'll take it. But they only scored in 2 innings of that entire series. They had a three. They put up a 3 spot in the first inning of Game 1, and then Bailey hit a 3-run home run
yeah,
late in Game 2. That was it for the entire series. Their pitching staff pitched phenomenal in that series, and they pretty much shut down Otani. So you look at it and say, okay, they won the series. That's great. Let's move on. Let's maybe this starts a role for this team. But I was very I wasn't very content with how they played. And against the Marlins. They offensively picked it up a little bit. Again, they took 2 out of 3, but since this Philly series, it's just been they can't hit anything right now.
yeah,
Like you literally can put the ball on the tee right now, and they are going to have trouble hitting it. They have 6 runs in the last or 9 runs in the last 6 games, and I don't care how good your pitching is. Not to say that their pitching is good, but I don't care how good it is. You need to score to win in any sport. You
yeah.
need to score runs. So it starts with their top guys, and uh, they look just they've been awful all year.
Yeah, I mean that Philly series was brutal because,
Yeah,
like you said, they take that series from the Dodgers, they take the series from the Marlins, and then you go into Philly. Philly has just fired their manager, and they're
right.
9-19 with the worst record in the National League. And for the Giants to get swept and to get swept the way that they did, blowing both ends of the doubleheader, both times you have a lead going into the last inning, and then you blow it and lose on a walk off in crushing fashion. That was pretty tough. It's just been like that all the season. It's like they start to get it going again, and maybe you can start looking towards maybe we're getting some momentum going into this next series, and then it just disappears. The offense doesn't show up, or something goes haywire and they lose, and they just keep shooting themselves in the foot.
Yeah.
I think I mean this tells the story right here. They are last in the league in runs scored, last in the league in home runs, and last in the league in stolen bases
And walks
and in walks.
by far. They're like 20 behind the second worst
Wow.
in walks right now. They're like
Yeah.
I want to say they had as of yesterday they were at 67, and I forgot who was second to worst, but they had 84. Like they're not even close to
Wow.
anyone else. Like they can't walk. I mean, Kurtz has damn near half the amount the whole team does.
And yeah, I mean, stolen bases like they have 8 going into
Yeah.
today's game, and the Brewers are leading the league. I think they have 35.
I mean, who on this team? Because again, I think it all goes hand in hand. You have to get on base in order
Yeah.
to steal bases. But like, who on this team do you think would be an effective base stealer for this team? Like, do you think they have anyone that is even capable of doing it at a high level?
No, I mean they got a lot of guys who can steal like maybe you were hoping to steal like 12 to 15, and I think Harrison Bader they were hoping would be one of their more athletic players,
Yeah.
but
He can't get on, so
no,
it doesn't
I mean,
matter.
yeah, he's hitting 115. I know he's hurt right now, but
Yeah.
yeah, it's been bad. But I mean, every year, every offseason, they talk about how they want to get more athletic and they want to make being aggressive on the base paths like more part of their game going forward, and then it just never materializes. And like that's clearly a deficiency in the team. It's been a deficiency with the team for years now, and it's not getting any better. 8 stolen bases. The next closest to them, the second to last team in stolen bases, has 12, and they have 8. They're like 27 behind the league leader. It's pretty crazy.
That's like, and if you really like start doing the math on that, that's one every 4 games. So like one every 36 innings, you're getting one stolen.
Yeah.
Like that's ridiculous. That's terrible. That's
Yeah, and
awful.
there's individual players in the league that already have like 14. I think
Right.
the league leader has 14. Several guys with 10 plus. It's been bad. I mean, and I want to get into We have anything else on the Giants before I get into my Posey stuff?
We can get into it after. Go.
Okay,
Do your
sounds
thing.
good.
Yeah, go off. Sorry, Buster.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Well,
but-
here, let me see the sign back.
yeah, I got you.
Buster.
Good man. Good man, by the
Yeah,
way.
we got nothing
Good
but
man.
respect for you. I don't want to criticize you, but we even got the two Yanni back.
Yeah,
He's a friend of the show.
great guy. Great guy.
And, obviously we know what he was as a player. I think he's a future Hall of Fame player. Probably the greatest San Francisco Giant in history, you could argue, just
Yeah.
based on the 3 championships. But with the amount of criticism that Farhan Zaidi got for his tenure as the Giants, president of baseball operations, it has been arguably worse so far under Posey. I mean, we look at the big additions that he's made. Adames, Devers. I mean, those are the two big ones. But then also looking at the last offseason, you got Hauser, who has been terrible.
Mhm.
Tyler Mahle pitched well today, but it's been a shaky start
Yeah,
for him.
he hasn't
You got
been great.
Bader, as we mentioned, who has had a terrible start to the season. And then the one saving grace is Arise, who I think has been really good. But looking at those two big names, the big fish, Adames and Devers, you got Adames.
Well, I'm sorry, real
Yeah,
quick, not to cut you. I
No,
was
no,
wondering,
go ahead.
sorry to cut you off real quick, but with Arias, although it's been a good signing, which I do agree with,
Yeah.
Arias he's not a power guy. Like his career is 10 home runs. Like he's strictly a guy that I think their whole purpose of bringing him was like, okay, we know he's going to bat over 300.
Yeah.
Let's get him on base for our big guys to drive him in.
Yes.
Well, and it's like he's doing his part, but without Devers and some of these big name guys that they get to, those power guys to bring him in, you don't bring in Arias for 100 RBIs or 25 homers.
No.
So go on. But
No, you're good.
yeah.
But Arise also has impressed me with his defense at second base.
Right, yeah.
He's been a good addition. But yeah, you're right. If you're not getting that production from the middle of the order, like what does a guy like Arise really add?
Yeah, and that's not his or Posey's fault in a sense. I just wanted to say that, like, I feel like Arias bringing him in, it could be even more effective
Yeah.
if those other guys were performing to
Yeah,
what we
for sure.
expected.
But Adames, this is now a 192 game sample size as a Giant. So this year and all of last year,
Yeah,
he's hitting his OPS is 711, which is well below what it was with the Brewers and what you paid him $182 million, I
Yeah.
think, to be for you.
what was that, over 8 years or 7?
7 years, 182 million,
Yeah.
I think. And yeah, he hit 30 homers last year, but overall it has been underwhelming. And obviously he's a great clubhouse guy. I really want to like him. He's easy to root for, but
Yeah.
it has been unimpressive so far. And like this is the part of the contract that you were hoping to get production, because those contracts are structured such that like the last few years are going to get ugly.
Well, and again,
Yeah.
I know it's like hockey. I keep bringing up hockey, but it's the same with hockey. Those 7-8 year deals later on in their career, when they're in their late 20s or 30,
Right.
you're really signing for the first 5.
Yeah.
And with the understanding those last 2 or 3 are, like you said, they're going to be ugly. So like
Yeah.
this is supposed to be the honeymoon stage.
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly. No. So you got 5 years beyond this season. There's still 5 more years and 155 million left on the table. And with how bad it looks now, just imagine what this is going to look like in like 2029, 2030.
And he's got 3 home runs and 6 RBIs.
Yep. And then Devers, I mean, arguably worse. So this is now a 123 game sample size, including last year, and his OPS is 737. And it was like, I think 860 with the Red Sox. Like you were hoping that he's like a full 100 points higher on that in his OPS, and you were hoping that he's like a driving force in your lineup that he just hasn't been. And they owe him $200 million with another 7 seasons remaining on the contract after this season.
And that's going to get very ugly. Even if he was performing well now, you knew signing, like you said, those last few years were going to get.
Yeah.
I mean, again, I don't want to pick on Devers, but I'm going to pick on Devers. You just look at him like he's out of shape.
Yeah.
He's overweight. Like this guy is not going to age. Like him at 35 years old is going to look bizarre out there.
For
and
sure.
He's swinging through fastballs that are literally right down the middle.
Yeah.
Like Adames, I think that with him, he's definitely trying too hard. He's swinging at some really bad pitches right now. Like he's chasing quite a bit. So you could see he's really trying to, he wants it so bad that I think he's just trying to overdo it.
Yeah.
Where with Devers, they're just blowing it right by him. And he's not even really fouling him off. He's just swinging right through. And I think that's a huge issue because there's been a ton of pitches that he's missed that 2-3 years ago would have been in the bleachers.
Yeah.
And it makes me worry that maybe it's not going to come back around, because I think we were starting to I think again, glass half full. You say, oh well, he's a streaky hitter. Like he'll go through phases, but then he'll come and be one of the best hitters in the league. But again,
Yeah.
we're getting to that large enough sample size where I do think it's not wrong to start to at least worry a little bit about this.
Yeah, for sure. And I mean, I saw some stats saying that his bat speed has been declining pretty steadily for the
Yeah.
last few seasons. And like you said, you look at a guy like that and you don't expect him to age very gracefully. So you
How old
got,
is he now? 20,
I think he's
29,
30, 30.
30? Yeah.
I'd have to check. Yeah,
Yeah. But
somewhere in there.
he's because he's been in the league since 17. So
Yeah.
I mean, he's almost 10 years in or 10 years in. So
Yeah. So imagine you're paying this guy till he's what, 36, 37, and you're giving him, I think, like close to $30 million a year. Like that contract already looks bad and it's only
for
going to
sure.
look worse. And then putting the contract aside, you traded Kyle Harrison and some additional prospects, but you traded Kyle Harrison, who is now having a great start to the season for the Brewers. He's 3-1. He's got a 2.12 ERA, and he's got 35 strikeouts to 9 walks. So with the Giants, like obviously the control was the concern. It's like, is this guy ever going to be able to command the strike zone enough to really take that next step? And so far with the Brewers, he's been excellent. So not only did you trade for a contract that is looking like an albatross already, and it's only going to get worse, you also traded your top pitching prospect that you've had in years, and now he's actually realizing his potential with another team. It's it's looking like a really bad trade, and it could only start to look worse as we move forward if this continues.
And it looks really smart on the Red Sox because you could
Yeah,
argue they probably traded Devers probably at his peak value because really since he's come to the Giants, I don't know. Like I guess like his numbers didn't look terrible when he was with the Giants last year. Like he still had 20 homers with the Giants. I think 35 overall
yeah,
with the Red Sox, or all of last year. But I don't know. I just think at a certain point, sometimes it's just maybe just not a good fit.
hmm
And again, he's used to playing in a big market, so I don't think it's that. Maybe you could point to the ballpark, but again, like he's not even making like he's just swinging through pitch a ton of pitches right now.
right,
Like he's not even making contact to the point where you could say, oh well, he's playing in a predominantly not a hitter's ballpark.
yeah.
But like I don't know. I just feel like at a certain point, and this almost kind of reminds me again. Devers is better, and we were pretty young when this time came. But like, remember when we traded for Carlos Beltran,
Oh, very similar trade. Yeah,
and like that was 2011. Like it was right
yep.
after we won the World Series, right?
It
It
was
was
2011. It was the
yeah,
year that Posey got hurt in that collision at home plate.
right. So you make that trade, and I at the time, from what I remember, is that was a star player coming, and
Yeah,
for whatever reason, it just did not work,
yep.
and you quickly get rid of him. I can't remember if he got traded or if his contract
I
was
think
up.
he was a free agent at the end of the year, and
Okay,
he
but
signed with the
so it
Cardinals.
was a what do they call it? Like it was a
A
rental,
rental.
a
Yeah,
rental. Yeah. So you do that, and then he doesn't resign, and then you end up still winning two World Series right
yeah, yeah,
after that. So it's like it also seems like just the big fish free agents or trades that the Giants acquired.
yeah.
This isn't the first time it hasn't really worked to what they probably thought it would.
Yeah, and the other parallel with that trade is that they traded Zach Wheeler, who went on to have phenomenal career, long career as a starting pitcher at an elite level. So I mean, you're kind of hoping that that doesn't end up happening. I don't want to root against Kyle Harrison, but this is looking like a very similar situation.
Well, and again, the reason why Giants fans probably don't give a shit is because you
They
won
would still
two.
want two
You
more.
won the year before, and you won two,
Oh, for
3 years
sure.
after. So like that easily could go under the radar. But had the Giants flopped after that,
Yeah,
that would have been a much eye eye popping
yeah.
decision. But like, I mean, I know his trade value is nothing right now, but like at a certain point, where do the Giants go from here? Because you're not a young roster.
Yeah,
Your good players are aging and they're not playing well. Like, what's the next step here? Where does Buster go? Because he kind of dug himself a hole, but like,
I mean, I think at this point, it kind of relates to what we were just talking about with the Sharks and with the A's. It's like the way you want to build a team is a homegrown core of players.
right,
And then you can add to that. So, like, you think about, I mean, going back to those Giants years, like, they already had that core together with Belt and Posey and the starting pitching and
Crawford, yeah,
Crawford, and then you could make that move to augment the roster. Like, you could go get a Hunter Pence or you could go get a Jake Peavy and
Scooterow, all that, yeah,
Scutero,
yeah.
yeah, and they're gonna, put you over the top. But that core is what's getting you into contention. And the issue with the Giants for years now is that there just hasn't been that development from the farm. You've had a few success stories like Webb here and there, but it's been pretty dormant for years and years. So I think until until you're able to start producing talent consistently from your own farm system, the whole model of like every offseason looking to add 4 or 5 guys to plug holes in your roster is inevitably going to backfire because it's just kind of a shit show in terms of adding players like that and looking to the free agency market as like the core of your team.
Well, do you also think maybe they misgauged how close they actually were? Because again, we've talked about this. Like, you don't sign Adamas, you don't sign Devers or you don't trade for Devers if you don't realistically think you are close to being in that contention, right?
I
Or
think for
otherwise,
sure.
there's no point. Do you think? Let's assume Devers and Adamas were playing up to their standard. Do you envision this team as is a contender, or do you still think they have huge holes that were not seen when they were making these deals?
I think they definitely envisioned this team as a wild card contender. You
Yeah.
know, that they definitely expected this to be a lot better than it has been. And I mean, yeah, so did I. I wasn't expecting the offense to be dead last in the league
Oh,
in
for sure.
several key categories. And whether or not they can get it back going, I mean, obviously, I hope so as a fan, but it's hard to take this start to the season and have anything to feel good about. I think it's going to be a pretty ugly season for the Giants, and it'll be interesting to see, like you said, like if it continues at this pace, will they think about hitting the reset button and finally committing to kind of a rebuild, a longer timeline, looking towards the future as opposed to this like equilibrium of mediocrity they seem to find themselves in.
Well, and this is where my biggest thing with Posey, and again, I thought Posey would do a great job because Posey's a very intelligent guy, and obviously he's been around for a long time. So the hiring made sense. I would never fault the idea of bringing Posey in, but like
Yeah,
the one thing that's really shocked me about Posey is he played for the Giants, had an amazing career, was a part of a dynasty,
yeah,
wins 3 World Series in 5 years, and he hasn't thought to put a team to, or maybe he has, but he hasn't put a team together that at all somewhat replicates those Giants teams. And I feel like with baseball, yes, the sport evolves to a certain extent,
right.
but to me, it's not like basketball where you can say, oh, well, I won a championship 25 years ago with feeding my center down on the block like
Yeah,
basketball has changed in a way where winning the way you won 25 years ago is not how you're going to win now.
yeah,
But I feel like the way the Giants put those rosters together and were just elite starting pitching, timely hitting, great defense. Wasn't the sexiest team to watch, but just was so effective come playoff time.
yeah,
I feel like that formula still is successful even in today's game,
yeah.
and I'm just shocked he hasn't gone to that philosophy and tried to mirror that at all.
Yeah, yeah, and I mean, I think the Devers trade in particular kind of is antithetical to the whole identity of the Giants from that 2010 to 2014 stretch. It's like Kyle Harrison was your homegrown starter to build around and hopefully be a frontline guy next to Webb, and you trade him for Devers, who's you know a power hitter, but he's not a great defender, and he's not really doesn't fit that archetype of what you expect from a typical Giants hitter.
Yeah, in those 3 championship years, not one time did you make. I would say Pence was probably the sexiest
Yeah,
acquisition you made during the year, which Pence was a really solid, good player for the Giants, but like
yeah,
they didn't need to go out and do the a Devers like contract or sign a major free agent. They just filled those small holes that they had, but realistically, 80% of the roster was filled out and championship ready,
yeah,
and they just needed to, put a few holes in, and they were good to go. And so, I wish he would try to emulate that, or at least try like start doing that. Because again, I look at this team and it's like the complete opposite of those Giants teams from 10, 15
yeah,
years ago.
yeah, for sure. Well, I mean, looking towards the future, I'll just give you a Bryce Eldridge update. He's 30 games into his season at AAA. He's hitting 333, 445 on base, which I was impressed by, and a 513 slug. So I think he's only hit 5 homers. He hasn't really had one of those power surges yet, and he's still striking out a lot. But
Yeah, I was just gonna ask you. So
he's
he's
still striking
okay.
out around 30%. Yeah, it's about what it was last year. I'd have to double check his numbers, but that on base is impressive, and he's clearly, having a good offensive season down there. So it might get to a point here pretty soon where it's time to bring him up.
Well, I mean, at a certain point, like I at the beginning, I was like, could we blame Vitello for this? But I'm like, at a certain point, Vitello is just rearranging chairs on the Titanic. Like, there's
Yeah,
nothing in this lineup that he can really do to spark anything, and
yeah.
maybe it is a prospect that can come up and do that. How close are we to you think them just saying, okay, we need to bring this guy up and just try something new? I know it's unfair to
Yeah,
expect him to change the franchise, but like you can't keep playing like this.
yeah. I mean, it's hard for me to predict exactly where they're at from an organizational standpoint, but I think it'll be within the next, I don't know, let's say month and a half. I think if mid June comes along and Eldridge's numbers are still really solid in AAA, and the Giants are still kind of, you know, faltering offensively, then I think you could definitely see it. And at that point, he'll probably have like 50, 60 plus games in AAA this season. That's a good stretch of time down there, and I think it'll be time. So we'll see him soon. I think he'll be up here. He'll be up for a meaningful portion of this season.
I am interested to see how what May looks like for the Giants
Yeah.
because again, I'm not gonna whether they win a game or two in a row here or there or win a series. It's gonna take a long
Yeah.
period of time for me to really say, okay, this team has turned it around.
Uh-huh.
So I'm interested to see how May goes. But yeah, if we come back in the beginning of June and this team is in this, I mean, I don't know how it can get worse from here, but if it's in this realm,
Yeah.
I again, I don't know what you do because I can't blame Vitello for this at all. Did they win or?
They lost 2-1. They just lost. So the Giants are now 13-21. Ryan Walker blew the lead in the eighth, and then they lost in 10 innings.
Okay, yeah. So this is May 3rd. The Giants were up 1-0 going into the eighth against Tampa.
Blew another lead.
Blew another lead, lost 2-1. So again, that's
Good.
so is the series against Tampa over? No, they have two.
one more game left, I think. Yeah.
Yeah. So they've in 6 games they have 9 runs.
Wow.
Like I don't know how it gets any worse from here. I mean, let's talk about the pitching staff before we move on. But like again, you could have the best pitchers in the world. If if you're averaging a little over a run a game, you're
Yeah.
not winning.
Yeah, I mean the pitching has not been the issue. I think they have a team ERA going into today of 3.88.
Yeah.
They pitched another great game today, so that has not been the problem. I think surprisingly their bullpen ERA was near the top of the National League.
Yeah, except Walker.
Yeah,
That's
Walker
3 in a row.
It's been tough.
Sit his ass.
So yeah, I mean as much as they've had some notable collapses, the bullpen actually has been pretty solid. You've got guys like Caleb Killian, who looks like he's a converted starter to reliever, and he looks excellent so far. He could be a real weapon for them, but. Yeah, I think the criticism lies with the offense and not the staff. Logan Webb's last outing was really good,
Yeah.
and so if he could pitch more like you expect him to, I think that'll be a huge development. I like Ray and Roop, and maybe Molly's outing today is a sign for better things to come from him. But in general, it's just been a dysfunctional team.
Yeah, I think 1 through 3 is you can at least make the argument is
Yeah,
average, slightly above average. Like I don't think you can say they've been underperforming. Maybe Webb hasn't had this season we're accustomed to, but I definitely don't think he's been bad. I
Yeah.
just think he's just been he's been pitching to me like a C average. Like he's just been okay.
hmm
But Roop and Ray have pitched well this year, but then Malley and Hauser have been awful.
yeah.
So, but again, I think if their hitting was average or literally just average, I think this team would be at least 500 at this point. Like their pitching is doing good enough
Yeah,
to keep them in games. But
for sure.
I mean, and it's funny because I was listening to even when you make Mike Krukow upset,
Yeah, the Ryan Walker bit that he was talking
the Ryan
about
Walker bit, and then he was talking about Devers, but the Walker
Yeah.
bit, the main thing was it was what 9 sinkers
in a row.
in a row,
Yeah.
and he was like, because what he was saying, Walker's a 2 pitch guy, fastball sinker, and
Yeah.
he was just like, I cannot fathom that they just continue to throw sinkers, but he was also blaming. He wasn't blaming Vitello or the dugout. It was more of Bailey's an experienced enough catcher to
Yeah,
make that judgment call if they need to switch things up. And he put it on Walker and said, no, like you can't just say, oh, well, they gave me this pitch to throw. Like I'm
Yeah.
going to throw it. Like you need to, grow a pair and, shake off a sign or
Oh,
something.
for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, and he also said that he talked to the pitching coach at the beginning of the season and said Walker needs to work on developing a four-seam fastball.
And they said he was, but he
And
hasn't-
that was coming along nicely, and now he doesn't use it. He's still just a two-pitch guy. Yeah, I mean, he made the point that pitching is all about upsetting the timing of the hitter, and when you throw a guy 9 of the same pitch in a row, especially a two-seam fastball like that or a sinker or whatever it was, a guy's gonna get dialed in, and he's gonna be able to put the bat on the ball. So that was disappointing.
I mean, how big all of a sudden? Because now, I mean, we're at now 3 and 4 games where they've had the lead going into the 8th or 9th and blown it. I mean, how in need are they of an actual closer?
I mean, clearly they're in need of it. I felt like they were in need of it going into the offseason, and they kind of neglected adding to the bullpen.
Was there any options though, like in free agency, or they just
I mean, Edwin Diaz comes to mind. He signed with the Dodgers, so he
okay?
probably didn't want to come pitch for San Francisco anyway. But
Yeah,
yeah, I don't know. They should have been more aggressive looking to add there. Granted, it's tough to predict relievers, especially. It's tough to really find that through free agency because we've seen some, we've seen them go for a guy like Mark Melanson or something and pay that big money for their closer and then have that deal backfire.
yeah,
So, but yeah, I don't know. It'd be nice to have a guy that you feel better about in the ninth inning.
yeah. Well, I mean, again, hopefully this is rock bottom, but again,
Yeah.
we still have about 125 games to go. So the fact we're already here is this could be a long season.
Yeah,
But
true.
I do have something before we move on. Again, similar to the A's,
Okay.
we have the same thing with the Giants. Blindly rank all-time Giants players.
All right. Sounds good.
We're
Top
gonna-
five?
Yeah, top five. We're gonna
Okay.
relive the glory days. All right.
Sounds
all right.
good.
Number 1, Willie Mays.
Number one, greatest Giant.
Really?
Well, I mean, yeah,
Okay.
greatest Giant of all time. Willie Mays, the Say Hey kid, 660 homers. He, won that World Series in 1954 against the Indians, and he's an iconic player, true five-tool player. And may he rest in peace.
Okay, perfect. Number 2, Madison Bumgarner.
It's so hard to rank him because that single season performance is like
That's why I put it in.
maybe
Make
the
it a little difficult.
best postseason performance of all time.
Yeah.
As far as I'm concerned. But I think I'll put him at number 4 just because he didn't have that level of dominance for a stretch of his career. It was really just that one. He was really good for a long time. But
Yeah.
he wasn't like a Cy Young caliber pitcher at any time. So 4, I feel good at 4.
All right, Barry Bonds.
Number 2, I think from a purely offensive standpoint, you could say he's better than Mays. He's the greatest single hitter of all time. But I think number 2 feels good. Never won the championship. I wouldn't feel good putting him above Mays. So I like my 1-2 so far.
Okay, next up, Willie McCovey.
Also, may he rest in peace. Stretch. That's tough. I'm going to say 3. He's definitely ahead of Bumgarner. Actually, he fits nicely at 3. Mays, Bonds, McCovey, Bumgarner.
So in both the A's and Giants, you left the 5th spot open
Yeah.
to the final. And your number 5, this is fitting for this show, the man, the legend, Buster Posey.
Okay, well, that's tough. I
Yeah.
probably, if I could do some changing, I'd probably go Mays, Bonds, Posey, McCovey, Bumgarner.
If we're adding what he's done the last couple of years in the
Yes. Well, I do want
Up
to
in the
touch on that actually. So we got the bat here.
Yeah.
This is his 2012 National League Most Valuable Player bat.
Yeah.
Signed to Yanni, by the way. But going off of that, do you think Buster Posey is a Hall of Famer?
I mean, I don't know how he's not. Like,
Yeah.
I don't even know why this is a conversation. And the way I look at Buster for the Giants, and again, I'm not saying he's the, higher all timer to the equivalent of this guy, but the way I look at him is similar how I look at Jeter with the Yankees. Like maybe Jeter, with Alex Rodriguez coming in, that was the big name guy. Maybe Jeter was more of the leader and maybe second role
Yeah.
at times. I feel like Buster, although I would consider him our best player, Buster was one of those just quiet championship leaders that
Yeah.
you need. And again, none of this happens without a guy like Posey. And I know you could say that about other players on those teams, but like it starts with Buster. The moment he comes in,
It changes.
you win the first year he comes.
Yeah.
And I remember they traded Benji Molina, and at that time in elementary school, that was my favorite player. So I was like
Yeah,
extremely
Benji Molina.
bummed.
Uh-huh.
But again, Buster comes in and you win 3 World Series in those next 5 years. Like,
Yeah.
and he has an MVP under his
Yeah.
belt, so he's got the individual accolades.
Uh-huh.
3 World Series. Like I don't understand. Maybe his career wasn't as long.
Yeah.
But
no, I think he's absolutely a first ballot Hall of Famer. As far as I'm concerned, like the argument against is that he didn't play long enough to accumulate those counting stats that maybe you more expect from a Hall of Fame career.
I mean, but he played what, 12 years, 11
Yeah,
years,
something like
like
that.
That's long enough to me.
Yeah, I agree. And like you said, right away he comes up, wins the Rookie of the Year, and is the best player on a World Series winning team in his first season. Then he comes back in 2012 after that devastating injury, National League MVP, another World Series championship, winning another World Series championship in 2014. And then honestly, what's as impressive as any of that is his 2021 season. So,
Right.
I mean, you look at that season and it's pretty much unexplainable how they won 107 games, aside from the fact that Buster Posey was on the team and playing at an extremely high level. Like, what's the difference between the 2020 Giants and the 2022 Giants? It's Buster Posey because he skipped the 2020 COVID shortened season and then he retired after 2021.
And you can argue that that is such a baller move to retire right after
Yeah.
an amazing year. Like he was like, because again, I have no doubt Buster, maybe not this year, but like Buster could have easily played another 2, 3, 4
Oh, for
seasons.
sure.
Like
Yeah.
he didn't need to retire, but he was like, no, I'm going out
He could
on
probably
my
he could probably have a higher batting average than Patty Bailey like now.
yeah.
Yeah.
Bailey's what 158, but yeah,
Yeah.
no. I mean, what's the argument against Buster getting in? Like I don't even know what you would argue outside. Okay, he didn't play like 15 years, but it's like
Yeah.
look at. I'll ask this question. Name me one MVP in any sport that was, if not the best, the second best player of a dynasty
Yeah.
that didn't win, or that didn't make the Hall of Fame.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, yeah, I guess somebody might look at just the counting stats and think he didn't accumulate it enough. Like his hits, I don't know exactly how many hits he had, but like it doesn't jump off the page as a guy who played, 16 seasons and maybe stayed healthy a little bit more and just accumulated those statistics. But in terms of he won everything that there is to win. He
Yeah.
won Silver Sluggers. He won All Star nominations. He won the MVP. He won the Rookie of the Year, and he won 3 World Series championships.
Again, just you look at the Warriors dynasty. Draymond is a Hall of Famer, and Draymond, again, I know I went off a few days ago, but like Draymond never averaged more than 15 points. So
Yeah.
like his stats are nowhere near Hall of Fame worthy. I mean, his
Yeah.
career averages are like 8, 7, and 7.
Right.
But you see what he does defensively and his role on a dynasty team.
Yeah.
The fact that there's even consideration of a guy like Andre Iguodala to
Uh-huh.
get into the Hall of Fame. Like Iguodala was a part of a dynasty, but wasn't even a top 3 player on that team. Like
Yeah.
who's the best player from the Giants in the 2010s?
Buster Posey.
Yeah. Like I mean, yes, Bumgarner had, and again, maybe do they pulled it against him? He didn't have a World Series MVP, but like again, credit to the Giants, they always had a player that came up huge
Yeah.
at some point in those series. But like,
True.
yes, Bumgarner had an amazing 2014 run, but
Yeah.
that was 1 year.
Also, like they won 3 championships, so who's going to get in from that dynasty? It's a legitimate dynasty, and some player has to get into the Hall of Fame that won 3 championships. So it's probably going to be. I mean, it has to be Posey. Nobody else really has an argument.
I was going to ask you that. Does anyone else? That's another thing. Name another dynasty that has only one Hall of Famer.
Yeah, true. I mean, Bumgarner had the legendary postseason run, but he's not a Hall of Famer. Lincecum had the incredibly high peak, but
he had a great start to a Hall of Fame career, but it went downhill quick.
For sure. Yeah, I don't think anybody else really has a case. They had a lot of really good players, but they had really only one great player, and that was Buster Posey. So he's absolutely a Hall of Famer.
I mean, yeah, he was the leader of. He was the leader. I mean, again, he may not have been the. I mean, I say he may have not been the greatest like player in the league or anything like that, or like a sexy player to watch. But at the end of the day, he won an MVP. Like,
yeah,
it's not like he was, a 15 home run, 50 RBI guy. Like he won most valuable player. Like I don't understand how you can't put him in. It's not like he had a 6-year career. He still played over a decade.
Well, my favorite moment from his career was the 2012 Game 5 in the NLDS against the Reds. And he hit a grand slam off of Matt Latos, who was like a heel for the Giants at that time because he had made some disparaging comments about San Francisco and how he hates the Giants. So it was so satisfying to me at the time. So Buster's a legend.
That and the grand slam against the Dodgers was pretty sweet. Although they didn't win the series, that was nice. It was nice to see him get one last playoff moment.
Oh, that for the homer he hit in Game 1 of that series to the opposite field was sweet.
That was a grand slam, I think.
Was it a grand slam? It might have been a 3-run. Maybe you're right.
I know the grand slam was opposite.
Okay.
I know that. I think that was it.
Well, still, just Game 1, their return to the postseason. You got Buster Posey up there, and then he just hits a bomb to right field. That honestly probably would have gone into the water if it didn't hit that part of the arcade. But legendary player. He's got to get his shit together as the president of baseball operations because it's pretty bleak right now. But nothing but respect to Buster as a player.
And he didn't use steroids, so you can't use that argument against him. Like again, I really don't know.
Yeah,
that actually upsets me. Is that even like an actual question right now?
What?
That like if he should there's a chance he doesn't get in.
I've seen some debate about it because some people are more purists about just like accumulating statistics, like getting to 3,000 hits or getting to some threshold.
Well, what's his? Look up his total numbers because I am curious what they are because
let's see. Okay. He had 1,500 hits,
Okay.
158 home runs. He hit 302 for his career. And
He batted
career
302 for his
for his
career.
entire career, yeah. Career OPS of 831. He was a MVP, Rookie of the Year, 7-time All-Star, 3-time World Series champion, Gold Glove Award winner, 5-time Silver Slugger, and he won the batting title in 2012. He hit 336 this season. As your catcher to give you that kind of production is
And they
pretty.
won the World Series that year.
And they won the World Series. MVP,
World
batting
Series,
title,
Rookie
World
of the
Series,
Year.
Rookie of the Year.
And
Yeah,
you could say so he had 7 All-Star appearances in 11 years, but you could pretty much say 10 years because he missed most of his second year with the injury.
True.
So like 70% of the seasons he played, he was an All-Star.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, he didn't get to, 500 home runs or like 3,000 hits or anything crazy, but like
yeah.
for having 1,500 hits in 11 seasons, I mean, to me, yeah,
Yeah.
I don't understand batting over 300.
If Buster Posey's not a Hall of Famer, then what are we even talking
If he's
about?
not a Hall of Famer, I have no interest in knowing who will be in the Hall of
Yeah.
Fame ever again because that to me is just bizarre.
True. So put Barry Bonds in the Hall of Fame, put Buster Posey in the Hall of Fame. We need more Hall of Fame.
Well, because then you have that double standard because people say, oh well, Bonds doesn't get in because of steroids, or like you said, he was an ass to the media, and then you have a guy like Buster who's like literally he's like the Steph Curry of the Giants. Like you couldn't have a better leader of a team as a player
Yeah.
on or off the field than Buster Posey. Like the most wholesome person.
Yeah. He's
And-
just unproblematic.
Like, so if Bonds is an issue because of those things, but then you turn around and say, well, Buster's numbers aren't sexy like
Yeah.
Barry Bonds are, you can't win.
Yeah. For sure. All right. Well, we settled that.
He's in, yeah. He's in.
All
It's up to me and Danny. He's in. All right, so
You want to put this back?
yeah, we're done with baseball. Let's go football. You want to start? Well, we'll start with the Raiders, just because I just want to talk about Mendoza for a little bit. We
Okay.
had some requests to talk about the Raiders, so I have my limited edition signed Antonio Brown
Yeah.
Oakland Raiders jersey that will live in infamy. You think this is worth anything?
I don't know. Probably it is. It's
You got to think like some collector would just want something like this.
true, especially with the autograph on the back.
Autograph, yeah. I mean, I don't have proof, but like he signed it in front of me, so like that's the only proof I have.
Where
but,
was that? Where did you get it signed?
We went to the alumni during training camp the last year they were here.
Oh,
So
cool.
literally the 2 weeks he was in Napa for the when he burned his feet, where he was like around but
Right,
not
right.
practicing. There was the alumni like luncheon.
Did you talk to him at all?
Well, so we're actually kind of boys. So Antonio Brown, I met him first at Los Alamos.
Oh, I remember that.
It was crazy. Antonio Brown, for being so famous, he would post where he was all the time. Like I know some famous people will post shit like an hour or two after they were there, like, and then they leave and then they post it.
Yeah.
Like he's posting stuff while he's at these places. And so like he was a few minutes from my house. So I like went over and he's just like on the field like training. And so I
Nice.
actually talked to him for a couple minutes. And then this was probably like 2 months later. We went to the alumni for training camp and had like a luncheon. And so we were on the field like while they were taking their photos, and he was walking around. So I got a signature from Carr, and he signed this.
That's sweet.
Yeah.
That's sweet. You had two separate interactions.
What's crazy is I wouldn't say I met a ton of like athletes, but I met like a decent amount.
Hmm.
He is up there with one of the nicest people I've talked to, like athletes wise, individually.
Uh-huh.
And it's just bizarre how he is like on camera. Because
Yeah.
like when I was like he was asking me questions, like he was so like we talked for a couple minutes and he was actually really nice. And then all this meltdown happens with him
Yeah.
with
Well,
the Raiders. It's just crazy.
CTE and some mental illness, but we wish him the best. He's a friend of the show. So.
Yeah, friend of the show. Yeah, we'll have him on. But I mean, with the Raiders, I think we got to start with Mendoza.
Yeah, sounds
Obviously, drafting him number 1, which was predictable. What's your take on Mendoza from his college career?
It's the start of a new era, and he's a little bit corny, but
Very.
I was super like if you just took that at face value, you might think differently about him than if you really watched him play last year, and you could tell that he's a fierce competitor. Like
Oh, for sure.
that national championship performance, that last run where he had to scramble and then dive through contact to break the plane. He's a fierce competitor. I think he's going to lead by example, and I have a pretty I have high expectations for him. I watched him as an Oregon fan just torment us last season twice. So I know what he's capable of, and I think he's going to be a great quarterback. Hopefully he can. Hopefully the dysfunction of the Raiders organization doesn't rub off too much on him, and he's able to have a great career there. I think it'd be great for him.
Yeah, I think. But first off, Mendoza and Kirk Cousins, that quarterback room is going to be the most boring quarterback room in the history of the NFL. Like
Yeah.
that is going to be. I don't even know what they're going to talk
It's
about.
a perfect mentor
Bro,
for him.
oh,
to
for
have,
sure,
though,
dude. It's crazy because I actually, when I watch him, I'm not on the field per se, but just like his personality, I see so much Kirk Cousins, and I thought that like while he was at Indiana, so the fact that Kirk Cousins is now on the Raiders,
Yeah.
like they're literally gonna be talking about film and like stock portfolios like all the time. But
Yeah.
anyway, with Mendoza, like you said, I think it's going to come down to the Raiders' dysfunction. I
Mhm.
mean, we're 26 years old, and my entire life has been nothing but dysfunction for the Raiders,
Yeah.
and that's why I'm a huge fan of Derek Carr.
Mhm.
Not like you can argue his, what his talent was, or like what he could have been or should have been, but like the amount of shit he went through
Yeah.
in this organization for him to have carved out a career, multiple time Pro Bowler, just the career he had for himself, to me, most quarterbacks that people would perceive as better than him, I don't think could have done what he did. Like he
Yeah.
was put through so much shit with this team that if he got drafted to basically anyone else, I think he would have had a much more, uh, way more of a winning um, record and like
Yeah.
playoff appearances and things like that.
I mean, the big what if for him was that 2016 season
Exactly.
when he broke his leg right at was that the last week of the season?
Yeah, it was like week or second to last week, and then again right after that year, nothing but dysfunction after that. Like that was the one year where you could have said things kind of clicked for that team, and
Mhm.
I don't think they would have. As much of a Raider fan I am, I don't think they would have like won the Super Bowl, but I definitely think they could have had a chance to win a playoff game or at least show something that year.
Yeah.
But then once he got hurt, they were done. But just so much stuff. So with Mendoza, again, it's all going to come down to that because I think he's actually one of the more safer quarterback draft picks in a while.
Yeah, I think so.
Like I don't think, and I think the thing with Mendoza, and even I'll have to catch myself with this, is because he's not like super fun to watch, or he's like not super fast, or like his ceiling isn't like, I don't think he has a super high ceiling,
Mhm.
but I think he has a really high floor. Like I think he's going to be a good B level quarterback.
Yeah.
I don't think he's going to be a Mahomes level or a Josh Allen level, but I think a Herbert level is a nice bar talent wise for a guy like Mendoza, which is good enough to win if you put the team around him.
Yeah. So I do look at the team around him. I look at the situation he's inheriting, and you got some good weapons in terms of Genty and Brock Bowers, and they're both young and on their rookie contracts, and they can kind of grow together. But when I think about their offense, what concerns me is the offensive line, and I'm too used to watching Raider games where the offensive line just falls apart, and doesn't give their quarterback any time to throw. So do you feel like they've done enough with that position group this offseason to give him a chance to succeed, or would you expect him to be running for his life a lot?
Well, they signed Tyler Linderbaum,
Right.
who's one of the best centers in the league right now.
That was a good
And he's
move.
only 25, which actually shocked me how Baltimore let him go,
Mhm.
being 25 years old, like in the prime of his career. So having him as your center for the next few years is going to be huge. You have Colton Miller as your left tackle, who's been your left tackle for almost a decade now, and is considered, I would say safely, you could say when healthy, he's a top 10 left tackle in the league. So definitely above average.
Yeah.
And then you have Jackson Powers Johnson, who's going into his third year from Oregon.
From Oregon, yeah.
Good player. They were in between playing him at center and guard. He started at center his rookie year, moved him to guard. Now that Linderbaum's going to be the center, he's definitely going to be your left guard or
He
right.
played center at Oregon. How has he been since shifting to guard?
So he got hurt toward the end of last year. I like him. Last year, I don't know what was up with Pete Carroll and Chip Kelly, but they weren't starting him at the beginning of the year, and he was clearly the better option. But for some reason, there was, I don't know. Again, the Raiders just being Raiders. He didn't start starting until midway through the year, or maybe a little before midway. But
Okay.
I like him a lot. He's very physical. He has like he has an edge to him where he definitely can go over that line, and he's done some boneheaded stuff. But I can live with that. I like him as a guard. So their left side, I think, is set for this year, and I think we'll be fine. The right side is going to be a work in progress,
Okay.
and so we'll see. I think there's definitely jobs to be won from the right side of the line. So they got 60%, I think,
So
covered.
when you look at this team, Mendoza's rookie year, what would you define as a successful first season?
Well, I don't know if he's going to start at the beginning of the year. They keep saying the best quarterback's going to start, so I mean, I think he'll definitely have a chance. I feel like my gut feeling is they brought Kirk in to at least start the beginning of the year,
Uh-huh.
unless Mendoza comes in training camp and in the preseason and absolutely tears it up. I
Yeah.
envision him coming in after maybe I don't know week 3, 4, something like that. I would consider a good year. Not even I wouldn't even say what I would consider a good year for Mendoza particularly because you kind of I think it's safe to say what he's going to do.
Yeah.
I just think a success would be can you protect him?
Hmm.
That's going to be the biggest thing.
Keep him healthy, keep him upright.
Yeah, and show that you are at least building around him. The receiving core is bad.
Yeah.
I don't think they did anything good in the offseason. They signed Naylor, who I wasn't a huge fan of the contract. It's like a 3 year, $30 million deal, and
Hmm.
Naylor's a nice, third or fourth receiver, but Trey Tucker, I'm not a huge fan of. I just think he's more of a deep threat guy. So their draft picks from last year were terrible last year.
Hmm.
So they don't have a good receiving core, and I think that's going to be their biggest Achilles heel, and it is going to affect Mendoza. I think
Yeah.
because Bowers is a stud, but you need outside talent to
Open it up a
to
little bit.
open, yeah, to help him and open it up. So I think the biggest thing I'm looking for is can the O line open holes for Genti? Can he have a better season?
Yeah.
And can you protect Mendoza? I think if they do that offensively, you'll take it. Defensively, obviously, with Crosby and that whole situation, he'll be back.
Yeah.
Um,
Genti was pretty good in the second half last season,
he
right?
was, I mean, he shows flashes, bro, but their O line was just, and again, this is like typical Raiders move. You take a running back sixth overall
Yeah.
with no offensive line. I don't know. I think Genti is a good running back. I do think maybe he was a little overhyped
Yeah.
coming out. Um, like the way they were talking about him and what he did at Boise State again was an incredible year, but they were talking him like he was one of the best running backs to come out in a long time, like since Saquon.
Hmm.
I don't see that. I see him being again a top 10 running back for sure, but I don't see like him going for 17, 1,800 yards and putting up these crazy running back numbers that we see from some of the best.
Yeah. Well, this will be a real test for him this year because I mean, an improved offensive line
Yeah.
and a new quarterback like Mendoza that can play at a higher level than
Yeah.
they saw last year.
Oh, he was set up for failure last year
Yeah,
for sure.
absolutely.
Yeah.
So hopefully this is a growing. He showed some signs of growth this season for the
Yeah.
Raiders.
And defensively, they signed a ton of defensive players. So I would say they're more veteran. They have more veterans defensively than they do on offense. So I
Okay.
think defensively, I think it's safe to say they might finish, somewhere in that 15 to 22 range. Yeah, I think that's a possibility
Okay.
with some of the talent they brought in. I love Quay Walker signing. Obviously, you have Crosby back, so secondary will be an issue for them too. So it's really just the outside on offense and defense. I think is going to be their Achilles heel for sure.
Over under 8 wins.
Oh, under.
Under.
I don't see them getting to 8. I think. I mean, the previous couple of years, I thought like 7 wins was more. 7, 8 wins was going to be realistic, and both years it got to like 3 and 4.
Mhm.
I think with this team, whether Mendoza plays the whole year or comes in, halfway through, I think 6 would be realistic. I think. I don't think they're going to have a.
Okay.
Yeah, and I'm also again, I've been tormented by this
You're
organization, so like
traumatized, yeah.
I will not. I used to be a delusional fan, and then once they moved, I was like,
Yeah.
screw them. But I'm not going to get ahead of the curve or like show a lot of emotion until they can prove and sustain success.
Yeah.
I'm not going to sit up here and say, "Oh, this is a new time in Raiders football," because it's just the same cycle over and over. So until they
Yeah.
break that cycle, I am going to be as realistic as I can. But
Yep.
I think 6 wins is probably where they're going to be.
Yeah. Well, excited to watch Mendoza. Excited to see how his career progresses.
Yeah, like I said, I think 10 to 15 year career is definitely very realistic. I have very little concern about that.
Yeah.
Again, I just don't know how
Right.
elite it of a player he's going to be. Like, I don't see a multiple time MVP or anything like
Yeah.
Hall of Fame worthy. But I think if he could be I think if he's in the realm of a Matt Ryan, between Herbert and Matt Ryan type of player,
Yeah.
I think that's going to be kind of his ceiling.
Yeah. Like a borderline top 10 quarterback, a very solid franchise quarterback for a long time. I think
Yeah.
it's very realistic to expect that.
Which again, I mean, we saw from Seattle. You're capable of winning in that
Right.
with that way. You don't necessarily need the elite of the elite quarterbacks. Obviously, it helps, but
Yeah.
if you build a good enough team around, you can still win that way. So
Yeah,
I'm
for sure.
comfortable with it. It was obviously the right move to make. So yeah, but enough with the Raiders. Let's talk Niners. What do you think about their draft?
I didn't love it. They traded out of the first round. They made two separate trades to trade out of the first round, and then they took Stribling with the first pick of the
30,
second
30,
round.
yeah.
Felt like that was a bit of a reach.
Do you think the guy they wanted when they moved from 27 to 30, do you think the guy they were originally going to take got picked up in those few picks, or do you think they just kept moving because they thought they could?
I honestly am not sure. I mean, they seem to suggest that there was a guy they were hoping was going to fall to 27 and then wasn't there when 27
Okay.
came around. Not sure who that player was, but definitely felt like they drafted a few guys kind of over where they were expected to be picked. I felt like they still haven't addressed the offensive line enough. That was a problem last season, and I feel like it's only going to continue to be a problem. Yeah, I wasn't super impressed. I mean, I don't feel like they added to the draft the way that we were hoping they would.
Yeah, I mean they did. They went from they had 6 picks coming in. They picked up a couple.
Yeah,
There was a guard that went 28th. I forgot what his name was, but I am wondering if maybe that was
who they were targeting.
maybe who they were targeting when they moved from 27 to 30 and
Yeah,
thinking he would fall. Again, we'll never know. They would never admit that to anyone, like they messed up or anything. But
yeah,
I mean, honestly, I think out of all their picks, my favorite one was Black. I think Black has an ability. You saw him at Indiana last year, like
yeah.
come alive toward the end of the year, and like was definitely the more efficient back between him and was it Hemby or Hamby? I think it was.
Yeah, Hemby
I
sounds
think
right.
Hemby, yeah. Um, but I think him being I think he could be a number 2 back to CMC, and I think they need to monitor CMC this year
Yeah,
because they
for sure.
ran his ass into the ground last year.
No, I could see him really filling that role nicely, kind of the role that Brian Robinson Jr. had last year, like, and probably a guy that you got to rely on even more in terms of uh, lowering CMC's workload and kind of keeping him fresh for the postseason because you got pretty lucky keeping CMC healthy last season. And
Yeah, 400 touches at 29 is
yeah,
a lot.
you don't want to really have that expectation of him again that he can be that workhorse for you because we've seen the injury history in the past. It'd be good if they could limit his exposure a little bit.
Well, and I thought that's why they brought Robinson in because again, I drafted CMC, so like as a fan and as a fantasy owner, I was very pleased
Yeah,
with
yeah.
with the production. But like they make the trade for Brian Robinson before last year, and my thought process was okay, he's a different style back than CMC, a physical, bigger back.
Yeah.
I thought that maybe they brought him in to be, and again, being that CMC was coming off practically a full year of injuries,
Mm-hmm.
that they were bringing him in to be not a 50-50 work share, but more of a 70-30, 65-35 split.
Yeah.
And it very quickly turned into CMC 90-95 to 5 to 10% because Robinson only had 93 carries last year, and he did nothing in the pass game.
Yeah.
So what's 93? I mean, you're talking about like 5-6 carries a game.
Yeah.
Like I think they need to have more production from somebody else because I do think they're going to be a run heavy team this year with Kittle being out, with some of the maybe I don't know how well they're going to be on the outside this year. So I feel like they're going to be a heavy run team.
Yeah.
So I think Black needs to be a decent part of the offense.
Yeah, I think so. They picked him in the third round, right?
Yeah, and like there was a big questions about his because he only caught 4 passes this year. Which
Mhm.
if you watch Indiana play, none of their running backs were really pass catchers.
Yeah.
Like Hemby only caught 17 balls
Oh,
the
wow.
whole year, so it's not like they were featuring another back. But my argument to that is CMC's going to be the receiving back for this team. Like
Yeah.
CMC's going to get the majority of the targets from the running backs. Like he had 130 last year targets.
Mm-hmm.
He's going to be, assuming he stays healthy, he'll be above 100 again. Like you don't need him to be a receiving back.
Yeah, for sure.
So I'm not too worried about that. But I mean, yeah, they don't. Again, I gave him a B because I was trying to be somewhat optimistic. Romello Height was their other third round
That's
pick.
right.
He's very he needs to put on weight. He seems like just a pass rushing specialist. And when I say specialist, I'm not trying to say he's like elite, but like what they drafted him to be is a pass rusher. Like he's not very strong in the run game.
Yeah.
Uh, Partly because he's not very strong. Like he needs to get stronger, put on some weight. So I don't see him being, a big part defensively this year. I see him being more of like a third and long, get an extra pass rusher on the field, and try to create
Yeah.
some chaos in the backfield. But I mean, what's kind of your now that the roster's fairly done, like
Yeah.
putting together? What do you see from this team?
I mean, I think this is a big if, but if they stay healthy, they're going to be a contending team. I don't know if they've done enough to like kind of close the gap between them and Seattle, but I think they're going to be in the thick of the division race. They'll be back in the playoffs, and they'll have at least a chance at this thing if they can stay healthy. But it just feels like they're one major injury to like a CMC, or a Fred Warner again, or Nick Bosa to kind of not having enough horses to really get it done. So I think there's a high ceiling, but there's a lot that could go wrong. And I think
Or a Mike Evans
a
injury
Mike
away,
Evans
yeah,
injury, yeah, for sure.
because I'm very again. I think Stribling will be fine, but there's a lot of questions at receiver
Yeah,
outside of Evans.
I hope Stribling's good. I hope I'm wrong, but I just like it feels to me like some picks that they've used in the past, like the Jalen Hurd selection, or like Dante Pettis, or even um, Pearsall. Like they've used a number of like top 2 round picks on receivers, and it really hasn't paid off in a lot of cases.
Do you
And then
think
you got Ayuk, who like it hasn't.
that's a miss?
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's been for different reasons. It's been a miss.
Yeah. Do you
Yeah,
think Stribling like what do you kind of see his production being in his rookie year? Do you see him being a pretty like a vocal point or not really?
I'm not really sure. No, I think maybe you could count on him kind of being like your third or fourth guy, but I think he'll be featured. But I'm not sure if he'll be like a real impact player.
Yeah, and I mean
Yeah,
one thing I will say about Shanahan, and again, plenty of people who have been worn out of Kyle Shanahan, and so I do understand that. But as a Raider fan,
yeah,
I would do anything just to have
yeah.
a Shanahan type of coach that you can actually have for like 7, 8 years, like you guys have had. So
Uh-huh.
it's much worse out there. So try to
That's true.
but like again, some Niner fans just can't stand him right now.
Yeah.
What I will say about him though is he does find a way to get the most out of a lot of
Oh, for
like
sure.
his running backs, his a lot of receivers. Yes, he has had some that you know maybe didn't work out as planned, but that's with every organization. Not every player is going to be what you anticipated, but he 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 finds the most out of his guys, whether it's quarterback, running back, receivers. So
Yeah.
I think he'll do the same this year. Um, as far as do I think they're gonna, I still don't know if I see them contending with like they're just in a tough division.
Yeah, for
The
sure.
Rams in Seattle, I think are Rams aren't. I think the Rams are in a 1 or 2 year window to go all in, try to win another one
Yeah.
before they blow it up
Hmm.
or the Ty Simpson era starts. But like Seattle's not going anywhere. The Rams are going to be right there. So I think it's more of just the division they're in is going to be so tough to win. I don't see them at the level of those two teams right
Yeah.
now. I think if they do get in, it'll be somewhere like last year, a wild card
Yeah.
spot. But um, anything else you want to talk about with the Niners?
Not
or?
really. No, I'm sick of the Niners.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I know. Well, before we move on from the Niners, got another
Oh, sounds good. All right.
game for you real quick. So we're doing keep three, cut five, 49ers all or not all time, but we're doing 21st century edition.
Okay.
So this
Keep
is
3, cut 5, 21st century.
so
Niners.
players from 2001 to now. So guys like Montana, Rice, not on the list. Okay.
Okay.
So we're doing our era.
Sounds good.
Keep three, cut five. All right. First one name up, Patrick Willis.
Keep.
Okay.
Uh,
Any elaboration?
Stud, probably
No,
the
no.
best defensive player for that stretch with Harbaugh, and just like maybe the best middle linebacker in the league at the time. Yeah, he was a really fun player to watch.
Okay, perfect. Number 2, Colin Kaepernick.
Cut. I just don't think he. I mean, he had that really hot start to his career,
Yeah.
and like got to that Super Bowl, but I don't think he sustained it for long enough. Maybe partially for reasons outside of his own control, I suppose.
Yeah.
But I don't think he's I'm not. I'm going to cut him.
High peak, not sustained.
No.
Number 3, George Kittle.
That's tough. I think I'll cut him, even though he is a great tight end, great all around tight end, and he's been a key player for this iteration of the Niners. But I'm going to cut him.
Okay. Number 4, Joe Staley.
Keep. Yeah. I mean, in the same way Patrick Willis was like the anchor of the defensive side of the ball back then, Joe Staley was the anchor of the offensive line and the offensive side of the ball, and a great leader, great Niner. I'll keep him.
All right. Vernon Davis.
How many do I have left after this?
You have, including Vernon Davis, you have 4 more. You have 1 keep left.
I'll cut him. He was a great player, but I didn't keep Kittle. I'm gonna cut Davis as well.
All right. Frank Gore.
Wow. I mean, so who else could be coming down the line? Like, I'll keep him. Frank Gore was a stud. Loved watching him.
All right. So we're shutting it down right now.
There's 2 left after this.
2 more.
And I got Patrick Willis, Joe Staley,
So
and Frank Gore.
You kept Patrick Willis. You cut Kaepernick. You cut Kittle. You kept Staley. You cut Davis, Vernon Davis, and you kept Frank Gore. So there's 2 more that you're cutting.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay. So we kept Patrick Willis, Staley, and Gore. We cut Kaepernick, Kittle, Davis, and you cut Nick Bosa and Justin Smith.
Fine by me. Yeah.
I think you did good.
I think I did good too.
I think that's solid.
Sweet,
Yeah.
good. I'm doing good on these.
You're
games,
doing
dude.
good. I think that's
So
solid.
I got Patrick Willis, Joe Staley, and Frank Gore.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like I try to do the guys that were at least with the team for a relatively. At first, I was gonna like think about playing like a CMC, but then I was like, he's only been here a few years. I wanted to
Yeah.
put the guys that have had a lengthy career with the Niners. But
For
I
sure.
think you did. I think you did a good job.
Nice.
Yeah.
Stoked. Clearly, I'm kind of biased towards that era because it was my childhood. But
Well, and that's
Yeah.
why I did it because again, like I feel like if you do all time Niners, it's pretty like. I feel like it's fairly easy. Like you have Montana Rice,
Yeah,
and then
for
you can
sure.
pretty much keep like Steve Young or maybe like a Deion Sanders. Like I feel like
Yeah.
there's only a few guys or Ronnie Lott. I feel like there's only a few guys you would actually
true.
keep. So I felt like this might have been harder, but you crushed it.
Nice.
You're 3 for 3, I think, so far. Okay, so we got 2 more things to talk about. We
Yep.
got some Sharks and Warriors off season.
Hmm.
Start with the Warriors. There's not much roster wise that there's nothing that's changed since the end of the year, but more
Yeah.
so just the uncertainty with Steve Kerr and the coaching staff and some comments from Draymond. But
Yeah. I know you already touched on the Draymond comment.
yeah, I touched, but I mean we can get into it. I want to know your opinions on it. What's kind of your thought? Well, first I want to talk about Steve Kerr. Do you think he's coming back or not?
Do I honestly, the way it sounds, I would say I don't think he's coming back.
Yeah.
I would like him to come back. Maybe I'm just like afraid of change and I don't want it to be over yet.
Yeah.
But I would love for him to come back. But just it felt like a farewell kind of to me.
It did.
I'm sure it's still kind of up in the air. There's still conversations being had, but I feel like they might be moving on from him.
Well, and it's crazy too because and I talked about it after the Phoenix game that they lost. Throughout the whole year, I knew his contract was coming up, but it didn't concern me at all because I was like, he's got a great relationship with the organization.
Yeah.
He's been here so long. It's not like a typical coach that has only been a couple years and hasn't proved anything.
Yeah.
So not one really ounce of me was like, oh, he's not going to be back next year and he won't sign an extension. When I saw that though, with him hugging Draymond and Steph, I was like, that doesn't happen if you're not seriously considering stepping away. Like that's stuff that you don't just do that after a game like that.
Yeah.
That's just not something he's ever done before. I've never seen a coach really do that before.
Yeah, if he knew he was coming back, he's not doing that.
Yeah, or at least even if he was like, oh, it's like 50-50, 60-40, I'm leaning to coming back, he still would. Like that to me was like, it's not for sure, but I'm seriously considering not being back next year. And then now the way Draymond's been talking on his podcast and not even just the hindering of his career and all those things, but the way they're talking about, all they've accomplished
Right.
and, some memories and some things like that. Again, Draymond, I feel like would be one of the people to know him and Steph know more than anyone. He's talking about it like he knows he's not coming back. So,
I mean, then if they do look elsewhere, I mean, I've heard like Dan Hurley, the Connecticut head coach, be talked about. It looks like a number of college coaches are being talked about as potential successors. So do you think that if they were to make a move like that, it might coincide with them kind of hitting the reset button as an organization and starting looking more towards the future?
Yeah.
Or could you see them bringing in like a Hurley type and then still trying to make a run for it next year and build around Steph and make use of the last couple of years of his career?
Well, I mean, I think it has to. More if they're looking to for the future because and again we won't I don't really know a ton of the current head coaches or some of the former NBA head coaches that are they're interviewing or are going to interview, so I don't want to speak too much on potential guys,
Yeah.
but more so of new guy versus a coach who's been in the league or
Yeah.
been a coach before. I just don't think with this roster with Steph Curry in the final years of his career, Draymond, Jimmy Butler, I don't think you bring in a college coach
Mm.
or a guy who's never coached has any experience. Like I think you could have, even though it was a huge risk to go with Steve Kerr when they did, because
Yeah.
you saw a team that was knocking at the door to take that next step, and if the Steve Kerr hire doesn't work out,
Yeah.
it could have been bad. So I get there was some risk in that, but you still hadn't accomplished anything yet.
Hmm.
So when you brought in Steve Kerr, that was like, okay, we feel like we can get from point A or we can go from here to here.
Yeah.
It's not like you were already there. The Warriors have been here for a long time,
Yeah.
and to bring in a guy who has no experience at this level, I don't think makes a ton of sense. I think that hire makes sense if you're talking about building around young guys and the next 3 to 5 years of the
Yeah.
future. But then from that point, what do you do with Steph, Jimmy, and Draymond? Because I don't think they're really here for that.
Yeah. No, definitely
So
not.
I mean, again, I'm a believer, and I said this before. You got to choose a direction, a clear direction. I think we're done being trying to balance both,
Yeah.
and so I don't know. I think depending on the coach, it will tell us a lot on the hire.
Yeah. I mean, I think whoever they hire, it's going to be a really tough job. It's going to be a tough shoes to fill for one thing, but also just you think about a player like Draymond, who I love, but he's a difficult player to manage. And you got a lot of older players who have had a ton of success and are at the back end of their career. You're bringing in a college guy who doesn't have experience at this level. It's going to be a challenge for somebody like that to command the respect of the locker room and to follow the footsteps that Steve Kerr has left. Because they're pretty big
Well, and just like with Steve Kerr, I would never bring in Steve Kerr with
now.
now
Yeah.
with like I don't know who's like a young team right now, but like a team that is looking to be a playoff team in the next year or two has a lot of young talent.
Yeah.
I wouldn't bring him. I wouldn't bring him in for that. I would or like I wouldn't like Dallas. Perfect example. I wouldn't bring Steve Kerr to a team like Dallas, who's trying to build around Cooper Flag, going in a different direction.
Hmm.
That's not the coach you bring in. I think you bring in a Steve Kerr because you're trying to win and win championships.
But
And
sorry, but do you think there's a chance that he's going to look elsewhere?
no, because
Okay.
he said he wasn't. He said, and this is what I was gonna say. I don't think I think this is really Steve Kerr's call because Steve Kerr even said, "I'm not coaching anywhere else." Like
Mhm.
it's more of a decision: do I want to keep coaching,
Yeah.
or do I want to just move on with my life and not do this anymore? So
Yeah.
I think from that perspective, I think if they don't bring Steve back, I think it's 60% he called it quit, and then the team just obviously respected that
Right.
and moved on. But if I'm a head coach, I'm not taking this job. Like
Yeah. Exactly.
if I'm a coach that is brought to this organization to try to win, I don't want this job because or even if you're looking to rebuild because you don't have enough good young talent on this roster
Yeah.
to actually build something, and you're between aging old core that has been the core of your team for 15 years,
Yeah.
and the moment that's over, you have nothing. So like you're in between both, and eventually at some point you're going to get fired. I don't see how a coach can balance both of these and stay here.
Yeah. For sure. No, I agree with you 100%.
Yeah, like okay, if you go and trade for Giannis or something, that changes everything. Or like
Mhm.
a game changing player, but as constructed,
Yeah.
I don't know what's appealing about this job.
No, you're asking a guy to like come in and walk a tightrope basically, and also have the expectations of a team that's won 4 championships, but not have the kind of the resources going forward to really try to live up to that expectation at all.
And that's
Yeah.
where like again, that's why I'm a huge believer this team needs to pick a direction. Like,
Yeah.
okay, we're going all in on winning the next couple of years. We're every asset we own, we're putting it on the table. We're going all in.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Get a coach that you feel like can do that. Or hey, you know what, Steph, Draymond, sorry, this run was great. We're done.
Yeah.
We're rebuilding. Like you got to do something. You can't just keep like balancing. Like you said, it's a tightrope. You can't keep doing that. They've been
Yeah.
doing it for 3, 4 years now, and they haven't been good enough to win. And their young players that they had that they tried to
Haven't
develop
panned out.
haven't panned down. They
Yeah.
got rid of them. So it's like you screwed both You
Yeah,
screwed
for
yourself
sure.
both ways.
Tough job for sure.
So
But
yeah.
should we move on to our next segment?
Yeah, well, so with the Warriors segment we have all-time Warriors draft,
Okay,
1 through 5 starting lineup with a 6-man and a head coach.
nice.
You can take your head coach and 6-man whenever you want.
Okay.
So if you want to take Steve Kerr with the first pick, you can. But it's all of how you want to do this.
Okay.
I'm going to give you the option. You can either have the first pick or you can have the next two, and then we just go back and forth from there. So you can either have the first or the second and third pick.
I'll take the next two.
Oh, okay. You're taking
Yeah.
the next two. Okay. Wasn't prepared for that. Okay. So the first pick in the draft, the Warriors draft, gotta take the best Warrior of all time. I feel like it's obvious. I'm gonna go Steph at my
Nice.
1.
Got to do it.
I gotta go Steph at my 1. So you get the next two, and then after that it's 1-1-1-1.
Okay. Well, I will take with the second overall pick. I'll take Kevin Durant,
KD.
back-to-back Finals MVP, 2-time champion. I'll take Kevin Durant, and
right.
with the first pick in the second round, the third overall pick, I'll take Wilt Chamberlain.
Oh, I was hoping you were gonna forget that one.
So I was looking before this, but Wilt Chamberlain in his first season with the Warriors averaged 44 points
Yeah.
and 24 rebounds. So I got some size. I got one of the best scorers of all time in KD. So I'm liking my start.
I gotta give it to you. Ooh, okay. So I knew you were gonna take KD. I was hoping you were gonna forget about Wilt. So there's a couple directions I can go here with this. I'm gonna go because I only have one pick right now. It would be easy to say to put the Splash Brothers together, but I'm gonna go Rick Barry, guy who
Nice.
averaged over 30, Finals MVP. I think Clay is a great player, but Clay was always, number 2, 3 guy.
Yeah,
Rick Barry was the number 1 for his era.
that's a good pick.
I'm gonna go Rick Barry at my and my. You better not be losing at the end of the game because my free throw shooting to ice out the game is gonna be absolutely elite with him and Steph.
So you got Steph and Rick Barry. So
I got Steph and Rick Barry.
nice. That's
All
a
right.
good pick. You considered Clay. I think I'm going to take Clay at my 2.
I had a feeling you were gonna take Clay.
Because I like the way he fits with Durant and Chamberlain. You got
Yeah.
a guy who doesn't need the ball in his hands to score, a great shooter. I'll take Clay. I like my start.
All right.
Yeah.
So I got Curry and Rick Barry. I feel like my scoring. I got my 2 scorers, 2 guys that can average 30, but I
Yeah.
need to get some more, and I got good shooting. I'm gonna get Draymond. I'm gonna get a defensive
Nice.
anchor right now, a guy who can play make. Like I said, I got the scoring, so I'm gonna take Draymond.
Okay. Good pick. Good pick. I think there's 2 I'm thinking of, but I think I'm going to take Chris Mullin.
Okay, I had a feeling you were gonna go that.
Yeah. So right now I got Clay, I got Kevin Durant, I got Chris Mullin, and I
So
got
who's your
Wilt
guard,
Chamberlain.
Mullen? Is he your point? Or are you running?
No, I'm
Clay
running
at your 3.
Yeah, more like Durant running Durant at the 4.
Okay.
I got like Clay at the 2, Mullin at the 3, Durant at the 4, Chamberlain at the 5.
Okay,
Yeah.
gotcha. So, I mean, good pick. I mean, I feel like that was an obvious pick now. So, because just because I need some more time to think about who I want.
There's a great center still on.
I know, but the reason why I was going to wait on that is because I didn't think you were going to go 2 centers.
No, yeah.
But because you
you're probably
mentioned
right
it,
about that.
I'll take Thurman.
Nice.
I'll take
nice.
Nate Thurman, the 2020 guy, again, defensive guy. So I feel like
That's a good pick.
Thurman, obviously Wilt's better, but I feel like Thurman is
Right.
can handle himself there. A 2020 guy, good defender. I think him and Draymond as my 4-5
I like it.
provide some versatility. Draymond will guard KD.
Okay. That'll be a good matchup. I like
Yeah.
the Chamberlain Thurman matchup as well.
Yeah, I think
that'd be
that- yeah.
fun to watch. Okay, so I can go.
I could have went Zaza, but I was like, no, let me go Nate Thurman.
I can go point guard. I can go 6-man, or I can go coach. Right.
Yeah.
I'll take Baron Davis at my point guard.
BD, okay. All right. Oh, this is tough. I don't think there's anyone really. This is tough. I don't think there's anyone current that I would consider for my shooting guard right now. I'll go Tim Hardaway.
Nice. Okay,
I
I
think
was going to say
I'm gonna
that.
go that for my shooting guard.
Okay, so your top five is rounded out now.
Yeah. So my starting lineup is, or we'll do the 6 man and the, or no, you have to choose, or you have your 5. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So let's just do our 6 man and our coach, and then we'll go through the.
Yeah. Okay, sounds good. I'll take a personal favorite of mine. I'll take Monte Ellis off the bench. He's my
Oh,
spark
okay.
plug. Yeah,
Okay.
I love
Ellis is your
Monte.
6 man.
I was bummed when they traded him for Bogut.
Mississippi Missile.
Yeah.
Okay. Um. Okay. So because you can't take another 6 man, I'm gonna take the coach first.
Okay. Yeah.
Because
fair enough.
you can't take another player. I'll go Steve Kerr as my coach.
Okay.
So now you have your.
There's
your
two
coach.
that I'm thinking. I kind of like how Don Nelson would fit with this lineup,
Yeah.
but I think I'll take Al Adels.
You got a player coach.
Yeah,
he could be your 7th man.
True. I will take Al Adels, championship winning coach in 1974.
Championship winning coach. Yep.
So nice. Okay.
So for my 6 man, I'm gonna go a little newer here. I'm gonna go Jimmy Butler
Oh, interesting. Okay.
as my 6 man. I was thinking Iguodala, but I mean Jimmy Butler's
Yeah.
I would say a better player than Iguodala is
Probably.
overall. So I think Jimmy Butler coming off the bench. Butler is can be a Swiss Army knife guy. He can score. He's a good defender, versatile.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go Jimmy Butler. So let's go. Let's run through the teams real quick.
Sounds good.
My team, I got Steph at my 1, Hardaway at my 2, Rick Barry at the 3, Draymond at the 4, Nate Thurmond at the 5, Jimmy Butler is my 6 man, Steve Kerr is my head coach.
Very solid. Nice. All right. Well, I got Baron Davis at the 1, Klay Thompson at the 2, Chris Mullin at the 3, Kevin Durant at the 4, Wilt Chamberlain at the 5, and Monte Ellis off the bench as my 6 man. And I got Al Adels as my head coach.
You know what's funny? Well, your starting 5 is stacked. I like it a lot. Monte Ellis would be interesting as a 6 man because
I don't know if he's going to settle for the role.
that's the thing. I don't think he'd settle, but you got your scorer off the bench.
True.
I mean, he's going to come in and look to score, and very fun player to watch. I'm trying to think, was there any honorable mentions of players that we missed? Like maybe like
sure.
a Mitch Richmond or
Mitch Richmond, Jason Richardson, Chris Webber.
Chris Webber, yeah.
Andre Iguodala.
Yeah, I thought Iguodala was going to be one of the 6 men. I do like the Ellis pick. I was surprised you went that route, but I like the Ellis pick. It was
Nice.
solid. I think you got to do it for the culture.
Yeah,
for the culture.
For sure.
I don't think no one really recent, I think.
I'm trying to think. I mean, no Bogut.
Yeah. Well, because I think
Lee.
the 2 centers are clearly
True.
the best, I would say, centers.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think that would be a fun game for sure. Let us know in the comments who has the better team.
Yeah, please.
I think this would be a hell of a series.
I like it. That's good.
Yeah. All right. Last team we got to talk about right now. Not a whole lot we need to talk about, but just kind of cover some things about the Sharks right now. So, season's obviously over. Only real recent news right now is Edmonton got eliminated in the playoffs. So the Sharks, the lottery is going to be on Tuesday. So right now they have the 9th best odds at the draft lottery. Most likely they're going to have a top 10 pick. So we'll just consider them having a top 10 pick, and then Edmonton's pick goes to the 20th pick. So they'll have a top 10 pick and the 20th
That's
pick.
locked in, the 20th pick.
Yeah, because Edmonton got eliminated. So that's what they have right now as far as their first round picks go.
Okay.
It'll be interesting to see what they do as far as how they utilize them. It is very rare. Doesn't happen often, not nearly as much as it does in football, for a team to trade their top 10 pick.
Yeah.
Unless something really intriguing comes up.
Mhm.
So I would be very surprised if a player came up that was worthy of trading their top 10 pick. So I feel comfortable they're going to make the pick for that, or make the pick. Who knows if that player actually ends up playing for the team, but just feel comfortable they're going to make the pick. I feel very confident they're going to try to look to trade the 20th pick. Try to package that for a defenseman who, in that 22 to 27-year-old window.
Okay.
Somebody that can grow with the team, because at the end of the day, if they do make the draft pick, that player is going to be a few years away from even making an appearance in the NHL.
Okay.
Their top 10 pick might be 2 years out, maybe a year, depending on how good they are. But,
I see.
I think now the Sharks are at the point where, waiting for these prospects that are 3-4 years out, it's not the move. So I think they're going to try to trade it.
So that pick with the 9th best odds, what are the chances that falls in like the top 2 or 3?
So with I want to say for first, I want to say it's like 5%.
Okay.
It's not a high percentage, but the New York Islanders last year, I think they were the 10th best odds, and they won the draft lottery.
Wow.
So it's possible it can happen. Like we talked about, I think it's this year couldn't have gone any better for a team that was in the hunt for the playoffs to the very end,
Yeah.
and still managed to get two top 20 picks, and then one most likely in the top 10.
Yeah.
Um, as far as what they're going to do with that ninth pick, Mike Greer, historically, since he's been the GM, is a best player available drafter,
Okay.
especially early on.
Yeah. Like
Which
they took a center last year, right?
they took Misa. Yeah, so they took Misa second, and then they
Uh-huh.
took and they well, this was the other thing. So the end of the first round pick, or the end of the first round last year, they had a first round pick, and they took a goalie prospect,
Mm.
which surprised a lot of people. That was not on my radar,
Okay.
being that they had just traded for Askarov, who's 22 years old, who
Right.
by all means is most likely going to be the goalie of the future for the next, hopefully 10 years.
Yeah.
So that was very interesting. But again, he was the best player on their board, and if everything works out, that would be a great trade piece
Yeah.
to have later on. And then also, if Askarov doesn't shape out to be who you thought he was, you have some reinforcement. So he's definitely not afraid to take the maybe unpopular position if it means the best player. So
Yeah.
we'll see how that falls. There are some good players in this draft. They should be able to get a very good forward or defenseman in this
Yeah.
draft at 9, assuming they stay in that position. But that's kind of what they're going to be looking at in the draft right now.
Yeah,
So
I think they're in a great position. You got a core already in place of young players. You have a superstar, an emerging superstar in Celebrini, who like we could see being maybe the best player in the league within the next couple seasons. And you have salary flexibility
there's
to
40
add,
million in cap this year.
and then you also now have 2 first-round picks.
Yeah.
So you're ahead of schedule, and you got multiple avenues to continue adding. And like we were talking about with like the Warriors of old and the Giants of old and the A's now, and you already have that core in place, and now you're looking to augment that with free agents, and it's the way that a truly sustainable contending team needs to be built. So I think the Sharks have an opportunity to really elevate their team this offseason.
Well, and the great thing about where they're at from the cap perspective, and I want to give Mike Grier a ton of credit because
Yeah.
he came into this in the worst position. Like this team was in such a bad spot.
Hmm.
You had an aging roster. Your core players were most of them were over 30 or at least late 20s. You were terrible. They
Yeah.
were locked into 8-year contracts, and most of them were toward the beginning of those deals. So it's not like they were expiring.
Hmm.
And you managed to flip those contracts. And when he came in, the vibe around the team was they had a couple of down years, but again, you still have that core. Maybe you try like let's see if we can get one last push.
Yeah.
He quickly figured out that this wasn't going anywhere,
Hmm.
and I don't think his intentions was gonna be to do the full teardown rebuild, but he quickly realized that was kind of the only route to success. So
What year was this?
he came in 2022, 2023. That was his first year as
Okay.
the GM. So this was his fourth year.
And when did they get Carlson?
So they got Carlson in 2018. Now
Okay.
that was in the offseason before they made their last playoff run.
I see.
So that was their all in what's it called? Move.
I see.
And it almost worked, but what really screwed them in as they gave up 2 first round picks and they didn't protect them. And
Wow.
now because of this, teams always put protections because the second pick, they went from the conference finals to one of the worst teams in the league. That
Yeah.
ended up being the third overall pick in the draft. So they got Carlson, gave those picks up, assuming they would be in contention, so they would be late 20s picks.
Yeah.
And they had one good year, then it
Yeah.
the team went downhill from there. So
Well, I know you have a dream scenario you want to talk about, but related to the Carlson trade, like how often is a player of that caliber traded in the NHL? I feel like you don't
not
you don't hear about it in the same way.
no,
you
I
do in
mean
the
Quinn
NBA.
Hughes just got traded this
Mhm.
year to Minnesota, and I would say a player of that caliber in their prime, once every handful of years. It doesn't typically happen very often, but the
I
Sharks
see.
were in a position that, you know, I understand why they made that move.
Uh-huh.
But what Mike Grier's been able to do with this team and get the cap space to where it is now with the young talent and I wanted to ask you before we talk about that dream scenario, would you extend Macklin now and Will Smith? Would you just get it done
Absolutely, yeah, I think
and
so.
try to get him for a considerable discount compared to what it would be like a year or two from now?
I think so. I think the sooner you lock them up and kind of squash that conversation and just kind of have them here and have them with the peace of mind knowing that they're here for the long term and that this is where they're going to build a championship team together. I think that's a good idea. It'd be nice to lock them both up.
And what's crazy is too is like Logan Couture hasn't played in 2 years,
Hmm.
and this is the last year of his $8 million contract. So that 8 million on top of the 40 you already have
Yeah,
is going to come off the books, and you basically can just give that to Will Smith
yeah,
and basically just take that money that you're already paying a player who's not even playing
yeah.
and give it to him. Macklin's going to be way more, but
I
they're
I saw Celebrini's like end of season press conference. He said like this is where I want to be.
yeah,
You know, he seemed to say like well, hopefully we can get something done this offseason. So I hope they do lock him up.
yeah. And I don't see again. I don't know Celebrini, but this is just, and maybe this is just me being a delusional fan, but from all accounts, he doesn't seem like the type of guy who is trying to grab every penny that he possibly can.
Yeah,
Especially because you look at like, when they talk about his family and, his dad is a very successful in his, field with the Warriors. And,
right.
I feel like he grew up, I don't want to say he grew up like with a ton of money or anything like that, because I don't know, but
Secure.
he grew up secured, it
Yeah,
looks like. And so I don't think he's in a mindset of, I have the pressure to support a bunch of people. And
right.
I think he's more of the sense I can just go play hockey, do what I love. And, instead of squeezing out, let's just say 16 million a year,
Yeah,
takes 14. And, he's not tripping about the rest, because that's going to help him,
yeah,
build a competitive team. Because we see where McDavid is right now, and that's going to lead into this dream scenario.
yeah.
You don't want to be the Oilers and McDavid 8 years from now with Celebrini.
Right. And from his perspective, you know, he's living in beautiful Northern California. He's close to his dad.
Yeah,
He's already got a great core of young players around him that he seems to like playing with, and he's got a very competent front office that's going to continue adding. I think from his perspective, why wouldn't he want to be here?
right. And because you look at McDavid, and that's the dream scenario we're going to talk about.
Yeah.
If the Oilers had won a Stanley Cup by now, McDavid wouldn't have signed just a 2-year extension. I believe he would have probably been an Oiler for life.
Hmm.
He's in Canada. He's in one of the top markets in Canada.
Yeah.
You bring a championship there, you are a king. You are put up with the Gretzky's and the elite of the elites.
Right.
But the only thing that's keeping, I think, him from being a lifelong Oiler is the thought of being one of those all-time greats that never won,
Didn't get one.
and
Yeah.
being the Carl Malones, the John Stocktons, the Barry Bonds, those type of guys.
Yeah.
And the way that organization is trending in with Edmonton, I don't know if he's going to get it. He had 2 shots at it the last couple of years, came up short, but this team I don't think is going to be trending upwards right now, and I
Yeah.
think they're nearing the end of this run, and
Hmm.
I think that's going to affect McDavid's decision making for sure.
His contract is up at the end of next season.
Yeah, he signed a 2-year extension going into this year, so he's got 2 years on the deal.
Beyond this season, like he's still got two left.
So now that this year's over, he has 2 years.
Okay,
So
gotcha.
this
Yeah, yeah.
upcoming year, and then 27-28
I
is the
see.
last year. But with McDavid, he has to hold all the cards, right? Because you can't lose him. The only thing worse than losing Connor McDavid is
Right.
losing him for nothing. Like, you can't let him walk in free agency, because he's going to require a haul of assets to
Yeah.
get. And so, by all accounts, he hasn't said anything or requested anything. But let's say next year Edmonton doesn't make the playoffs or loses in the first round like they did this year. It's clearly they're going the other direction.
Yeah.
I think he's going to have to ask for a trade. He's definitely not going to re-sign a long deal.
Yeah.
And if McDavid walks for nothing, you've put your franchise back, 5+ years at that point.
Is there any precedent for a player of that caliber to get traded? Like, I guess Carlson is a move that we were just talking about, but like for a player of that caliber to be traded, with 2 years left on his deal, does that ever happen in NHL?
Not to McDavid. I mean, because you look at I would say maybe since Gretzky.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, because you look at McDavid's been considered the best player in all of hockey the last, let's say 7-8 years.
Yeah.
And McKinnon's probably number 2. Some people may have a number 1. Both of them have been with their organizations. Crosby and Ovechkin have both been,
The whole time. Yeah.
those two have been the top 2 guys the last, 20 years since
Yeah.
they've come in. they've been with the same organization, and that's
Right.
typical. Hockey players don't typically move around a lot.
Hmm.
They may jump a team to team at the very end of their career if they're like searching for a championship, like a Thornton or a
I see.
Marlowe. But throughout the majority of the career, very rarely does a guy move more than once,
Hmm.
if at all. So if McDavid, dream scenario, got traded to the Sharks,
Yeah.
that would to me would be the biggest move in Bay Area. That would be bigger than the Kevin Durant deal or
Wow.
trade or signing,
Signing,
to me.
yeah.
I mean, yes, that led to like obviously the Warriors, but I'm talking just player and talent wise.
Yeah.
McDavid's, in my opinion, the most skilled player to ever put on skates. Like
Wow.
he's so good, and getting him at even if it's 30 years old to pair with Celebrini
Celebrini.
going into like his fourth year would just be a dream. But it would cost a lot. But
Yeah.
I think it's worth it. Do you think that would be worth it?
I mean, I would love to see it.
If you had to trade Eklund, Misa, give up,
Both first round picks this year, maybe.
well, not this year, but let's just say like the future picks, like your 27 or 28
Yeah.
year picks. And you just give up 2 first round picks, or let's say instead of Eklund, it's your top 10 pick from this year, whoever that is, if they're really good. Would you give up a 21-year-old Michael Misa and like 3 first round picks
I think absolutely.
for a guy like
yes.
McDavid?
Yeah, because then imagine you got Celebrini and Will Smith, and you added McDavid to that roster. That would be pretty fun to watch, and they'd immediately go from fun fringe playoff team to I think a team with championship aspirations. So.
Yeah, it's funny too because like with all these like rumors, you never hear Will Smith's name in the contract because I think that's solely because of Celebrini. Because
he doesn't want him. Yeah, he doesn't want him gone.
yeah, I mean, although I do think Misa, all in all, is going to probably be a more valuable player than Will Smith when it's all said and done.
Mhm.
So I'm sure Edmonton would want that,
Yeah.
but it's just like not even a negotiation. Like Celebrini and Smith are not on the table just because of their friendship. But
well, you heard it here first. You got Connor McDavid come to the Sharks this offseason. So.
I hope. I mean,
yeah.
Again, I don't think it would be this year because I think he's going to give him one more
Okay.
year to change things, and then but next year if he wants out, they can't let him walk. They have to trade him. So that would be insane. I'd be so happy.
Yeah, so would I. That'd be great.
Yeah. Well, anything else you want to talk about, or
not really. You have any more segments?
I think we're all good for today, but we'll be back next week with another video. We'll give you more updates on the Giants and A's. Hopefully the Giants turn it around, but
yeah,
not super confident in that, but we'll see.
Yeah.
But we'll have more content with the Giants, A's, Niners, a little bit more Raider talk, Sharks,
good.
Warriors. You guys know the drill, but we'll see you guys next week.
Thanks for tuning in.